work. Today I want to do a quick overview or first impressions of this ACC Elite or MDT ACC Elite Chassis. Something that the guys at MDT said, contact us and say, listen, is there some of our products that you would like to use on your channel? Let us know. I said, listen, there is a couple I wouldn't mind having a look at. This is one of them. This chassis is one of them I looked at. They said they'd be very happy to send us one. So start with full disclosure. They sent us this chassis for us to use. So I suppose my first impressions is I'm really impressed. It really works well. But let's go through and explain what I'm talking about there a little bit. To start off with, what's the rifle? It's the K.S Arms 3-lug long action. That's got a 27.5 inch 7mm 1/8 twist barrel chambered in 7mm WSM. It's got one of my 3-port muzzle brakes on it. It's running the MDT mono rings on the top here, and then we've got the ZEROTECH Trace Advance scope in this. Things that I want to use this season, but that's how it's set up on that side of things. And then the chassis, the extra bits beyond the chassis that are on here, it has one of my heavy bag riders, my heavy multi-fit or universal bag riders in the back here, fits up nicely into this chassis, and it has, I've made a component, maybe I'll put it on the store if I get enough requests, but I've made a component which uses one of the barrel covers, and then I've welded my spigot on the front here that goes around the barrel, doesn't touch the barrel, to my bipod system on it with the bipod leg, my leg extensions on it. So those work really nicely there, that worked really nicely, but that's just the rest of the rifle. We went out and had a shot with it, and it shoots really, really nicely. Really about as impressive, well, probably the most impressive chassis I've shot behind, to be truthful, in the subtle details and in the big details, how it performed as well. But let's go through what those features are and what I like about it. Start off with this front end, a little to do with you can bolt the covers on top, but largely the structure of this front end here is simply stiffer and stronger. It is very much a strong feeling thing. There is no twist to it in any normal sense of how you can operate when you've locked up your bipod or you're flexing around, get the feel of things. In some of the lighter chassis of all forms, a lot of chassis you'll tend to end up feeling a little bit of flex in the front. There isn't any flex in the front here. It has, like the old ACC, it has a full arca rail down the bottom here. It has the provision for weights all over the place and being able to bolt on stuff all over the place. Really, this rifle and this setup with the heavy barrel profile and that sort of stuff is around the 23 pounds. It's 10.6 kilos in exactly what you're looking at here. So it's already got decent weight to it. I know some of the PRS guys like them heavier still. That's quite heavy enough for me, and that's how it bolted together, so I'm super happy with it. I do have my heavy bag rider on it, which is I went with before I weighed anything, but no, it's a pretty good balance to everything, so I'm happy with that. So front end really stiff and strong, works really nicely with able to bolt these guards on because I could make this piece to bolt my bipod on, and that works really nicely. I think it'd work really well in all forms. My bipod system, for those that don't know, you can fold away completely, and then you full, for all the, whether you're running on a bag or a guard or a fence or a tripod or whatever you got, full access to the bottom there, bipod tucked away, and then very good low center of gravity setup of my bipod system. I'm a big fan of them, but I make them, so that sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, that's the front end, really good. From what I understand, the mag well's fully adjustable on these things, not something that I have too much trouble with, but for the guys who want to fine tune things in all those different sort of magazines you can run, these come in a short action and a long action, setting up in 22 or whatever you want to do, fully adjustable and able to made so there's no rattle, with all sorts of bits and going on inside that mag well, so awesome on that front. Good access to trigger controls, a little slot in the bottom here for your trigger side of things, all that position of the trigger and all that sort of stuff, the mag release, all as pretty much as ACC, very well worked out, very ergonomic and really nice on that form. They have a normal mount for like an AR-15 grip, but in this system with this little extra brace down the bottom here, which is one of the reasons I wanted to look at the Elite, was they run their grip which is fully adjustable, movable all over the place. So for people who are particular about that, for the PRS guys or whoever it is who really wants to push that in a different place, you've got lots of choices. You also have a thumb shelf which goes on in simply a likes of an M-lock slot here, but that is fully adjustable to wherever you want it. So you really can tune this back end to work, or the grip area to work exactly like you want. Come back to the buttstock area. And the first thing that like I said, what I liked about this was I wanted to, this extra brace down the bottom here really moves into where, as much as this straight line of push, it still is a fairly fine area through there. So having this extra brace down the bottom here turns it into a proper truss section and would give exponentially more strength to the basically way that's going to move under recoil. Those micro movements that happen when it's going through recoil. And the heavier recoil, the better this is going to work. The way it's all spaced out with all this nice spacing and that's through there means that as much as these pieces are metal, so aircraft grade aluminium, these pieces are what it actually does in all that spacing and that light sort of web sort of section, it transfers all the recoil shock to you, but it takes the shock out of it and actually deadens a little bit. Unlike heavy pipes that go through here in the full tubes and that sort of stuff, or unlike the composite stocks, which have a much more of the crack comes through to your shoulder, this actually puts all the force, keeps it all straight and that sort of stuff, but it actually lightens it, actually dulls that crack a little bit and turns it more into a push. So a really nice feature that I looked on that sort of stuff. What I didn't realize with these is the adjustment mechanism. Really, really nice. I don't know if anyone else runs it. I've not seen it before. But the simple thing is you've got a screw you can screw here, undo a couple of turns, press the button, and then this slides up and down. It slides, you can pull it right out without any problems, just like lots of bipods, lots of buttstocks do that sort of stuff. But putting it back in, as simple as push that button, get it to where you want it to. That's all not uncommon. But the big feature is when you do up this screw, it actually pulls a wedge block that has threads on it, or the thread imprint on it. It actually pulls it up and then locks up. That becomes extremely rigid. So the likes of the cheek rest, cheek riser, very thin, so it is set up to where you can get in your face in there very nice and neat and tidy. It has this foam rubber on top of it, so it's very soft and there's nothing aggressive. It's not going to be cold and sharp or hot, that sort of stuff, with the fact that it's going to not transfer temperature by being out of this sort of this foam material, and very rigid. And the same in the buttstock, and that in the length of pull. Probably the first time in a long time that we've felt comfortable with me and Sam shooting, her at 5'1.5", me at 6'4", where rather than what we normally do with the rifle is I'll run a bit compromised. I'll be running to where I've got to pull my neck back in and a little bit of blur type thing to shoot. To Sam to get on, she's sort of stretch your neck out, and neither of us are quite comfortable, quite used to doing that sort of stuff. But with something that was so easy to change, so fast to change, and so able to lock up afterwards, to simply undo those couple of turns, press the button and go from my position, which I think was about there, to Sam's position, lock it back up, meant that we both had full vision, which is the main problem here, but it also shrunk it up to suit Sam in the way of using the bolt, that sort of stuff, worked really nicely. So it is that locking plate on the other side is that lets it adjust to where you want it to be by loosening, and then locks it back up to make it rigid, is a really nice feature. No rattle, no movement, no wiggle, all that sort of stuff really locks up nicely. And then there's a whole heap more adjustment they've got out here of all the bits and pieces you can do, but that all ends up with that straight line of push, and like I said, lockable like that. That was very impressive. So listen, that's the overview of it. I suppose what I'd say out of it is, yes, I like it. I really like bolting it together. Being able to make something at the front here, that's innovative, and I like that for what I want to do with the chassis as well. But the overall feel of it in every sense, from the rigidity of it to in the front end, how it's out, there's just nothing I'm looking at any question there. The way it felt to shoot was really, really good. And the adjustability to come back to feeling just as good meant that, well, it really showed up, you know, in the way of the shooting we did with it. So yes, that ammo works well. The 7mm WSM is really good, is a very accurate, fast, good round. It's running 190 grain hybrid target bullet. The scope, the ZEROTECH, the Advance is doing a really good job. The Trace Advance is doing a really good job. Want to use that a bit this season. And like I said, the barrel action, K.S Arms, the barrel, all that sort of stuff are doing a really good job. But ultimately, the way this chassis felt would be the deciding difference in this, and I'm really impressed. That was just our first shoot. It's only at that sort of distance, which I get some people say, oh, that's such a long distance, and other people say, oh, you're not even throwing them farther than, you're not even pushing them farther than you can throw them type thing for our long stuff. But that's all we've got in the property at the moment. But I got to say, at that sort of distance, that sort of group, the way this shot, the way it felt, the way it performed, listen, I'm really impressed. You've done a really good job, MDT. I really like it. I look forward to using it a bit more. So yeah, we'll get it out a few times more this season. I even quite like the blue. I'm not really a colour dude. I sort of rather go with the plain stuff, but this titanium blue's sort of got it's got a tolerable sort of blue to it. So I think it stands out and looks really good. Anyway, that's my overview for it. Certainly is their premium scope, sorry, their premium chassis, and I think they've done a really good job. We really enjoyed using it, and we're looking forward to using it some more. So listen, drop any questions or comments and things below, I suppose I hope you liked the video. Thank you very much for checking in, and we'll catch you next time.